Hey everybody, welcome back to the Making It in Music podcast. I hope you guys all had a great week. So we've been at this podcast for about 5 months now, and I've had the absolute pleasure to share all this amazing Irish music with you. And I'm delighted to announce that I get to do it even more now. Quarantine FM, which has been station that's been set up during this mad time, is asked me to come on and do a 2.5 hour all Irish music show on a Tuesday. So make sure you check out quarantinefm.ie and Quarantine FM's Instagram, Twitter and Facebook pages. Find out about the whole show and all the other shows that are going to be on there. I'm going to make sure that I have my podcast guests on the show as well, and we blaring their tunes, including my guest this week. I'm going to be absolutely ramping up the volume on your tunes. I cannot wait. But yeah, we've been a podcast for a while, and it still feels like we've been in isolation longer than I've been doing a podcast. People are getting fidgety, people are getting annoyed and sad and angry, and I just want to say to everyone that that's okay. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to be sad. It's okay to want to run more than 2.5 kilometers or more than 5k just to get it out, to dance, to sing or scream, to go on your internet and annihilate your enemies. Being angry is okay. Pearl S. Buck once said, and I have this here, anger can give energy to the mind, but only if it is harnessed and held in control. And that's the thing. Anger can be used to our benefit. If we use creativity to express our anger and our emotions, we can really use this time in a very valuable way. And a lady who does exactly that. Let me guys introduce you to Emily of Vernon Jane. Hello, Emily.
Hello, how are you? That was a great introduction. I'm kind of taken aback by that. I was like, whoa, yeah, maybe I am a bit angry. I don't know. How am I feeling?
Well, you are what Vernon Jane described as a jazz punk band. A group, right? And even though Emily, and as long as I've known her, has been just the gentlest and sweetest person, you have this way of we had this talk years ago when we were doing something for TE together, and I turned around to you and I was like, how are you so nice, and then your music is so heavy, and you're like, I use this as an expression of myself. You're like, and then I was like, do you just get it all out in your music? And you're like, yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I just get it all out. Vernon Jane exploded onto the scene back in 2016 with your first release. The Inner Workings of the Damage Nobody was your first EP. And that came out in 2016. And so all your physical copies were sold out within 2 weeks. You ended up doing Body and Soul that year, Electric Picnic, Liverpool's Sound City, those 3 festivals. You sold out your Opium Rooms EP launch. Remember Opium Rooms? Remember Toast? Yeah. Remember having to bring Toast to the door? It's coming back.
Yeah, Opium Rooms is coming back. It's opening up, so it's another new music venue, which is great.
If I'm not allowed in there for free with a slice of toast, I'm just never going to go. But you have had this amazing success. You became known as one of the go-to see acts at festivals. I've seen you a couple of times at festivals, and it's class. And now you are just about to bring out your next you've been releasing singles for the last couple of years, but your next new body of work. First question I have for you. Vernon Jane wasn't originally a planned project for you, going back deep into the archives.
No, I think like a lot of musicians, I for sure I played with everyone I could, and I was always kind of writing my own stuff, but was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do and what I wanted to play and what instrument I even wanted to play. And so I played a lot of stuff, and I was in the first proper band I was in was a band called Bamboo Party, and
it's a great name.
Loved it. Still friends with everybody. We were kids, 17, first band, and we played so much, so many gigs, so late at night time, just sleeping in the back of Sweeney's regularly to play at 2 a.m. But that's kind of where I kind of figured out what I wanted to do with my sound and what I wanted, and then that fell apart, and I was so heartbroken. It was so tough, and anybody's ever experienced a band breakup, it's really difficult.
It's like breaking up with multiple people at once.
But
it's horrible.
Luckily enough, now, even Joe and Neve from that first band, they're in Vernon Jane now, and I'd stay in touch with Sean our saxophone player from then, and like he plays with Vernon as well, and then like stay in touch with Lorcan. But it was tough, like, and then I had to figure out what I wanted, so I just kind of wrote loads of music on my own and kind of learned how to play guitar. And then I was starting to meet new people and was like, do you just want to like jam? And then I always knew like me and Neve would stay together, like her drumming with me. But yeah, people like the people I play with now, it's been 7 years we're playing together, and it happened. Like, it was like once we got in the room together, it was like, this is it. I love these people, and I feel really calm and cool and not judged, and it's only gotten better since. So yeah, it was kind of accidental, but kind of accidentally on purpose. I kind of wanted to find my voice, and it just took a little while to do it, I guess.
Yeah, there was an article I read, I think it was an interview you did back in like 2018 or something like that, and you said that Vernon Jane very quickly became a safe space for you to express emotions that you didn't know you could
Yeah.
before, like, and be masculine and feminine at the same time, and aggressive and vulnerable at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it's an interesting thing because, like, when you're younger, I think you don't want to talk about anything, or like for me, talking about stuff is not my go-to, and I'd be quite introverted. And so then when you're like, even now, my songwriting has developed so much because I can be honest, because I trust the people I play with. And so I'm not afraid to bring any of the material in now, where there was times at the beginning where I'd be like, okay, here's the chords, and we'd get the music together, and then when everything was really loud and raucous, then I'd start saying the lyrics, and you might get the odd, like, people stopping and going, did you really just say that? Like, is that something you just said? And I'm like, yeah, so let's just deal with it. Let's just try it, and we figured it out together. So now I think it's really, really important when you're trying to be vulnerable and aggressive to be in a space with people who want to feel that too, and aren't afraid of it, and don't judge me, which is very important.
And you found a big group of them, 9 band members.
Yeah.
Like, incredible. So you're mostly the main writer of the projects. You kind of come forward with like the not the basic, but the pants of the song, basically, if you know what I mean. And it expands out. How have you been dealing with like working with 9 people and having, or 8 other people, and having 8 other ideas coming at you?
It's amazing. It's I like to kind of view it as like I'm like the skeleton, and then they put the flesh on it, and then fill up like the body with the organs. That's kind of how it works.
Yum.
So like, yeah, like it's pretty visual, but yeah, like, I mean, we're totally open. Like, say Daddy Issues, the first single, that's one of the first songs we just wrote in a room where I was having a day, and I knew that was going to be the first single. We were going into record, I think, 4 weeks at that stage, and like all the songs were prepared, but I was like, this is the song I wanted to write. I can't find the space to say this stuff. I don't know what to do. And me and Joe, our guitar player, were walking to practice, and we were working it. I was like singing the melody to him. We looked like 2 crazy people. And I'm there like singing the melody, and he's going, what if we did this? What if we done that? And I had a recording of a jam that we had where we just like, I was like spitting all the lyrics, and there's just noise and energy. It's like 20 minutes long. And I walked into that jam being like, this is going to be a fucking song, and it's going to be a fucking punk blaster. And we just got the 20-minute recording down to like 3 minutes. And so that's a good example of growth, because, you know, at the start I was really adamant, whereas like I have to bring the full thing here because I have to have that ownership. But now we'll write songs together. Like, so Daddy Issues and Over, 2 of the singles, they're 2 examples of what we can do when I'm more open to like everybody else's input, and that's something we're working on. So I think it's like a pride thing that when you're working with people so much, you start to see it as like, this is ours, it's our project. They feel as intimately about the songs as well. So now we're starting to get material where it's like, oh, look, we're doing it together, and that feels really nice. There's always going to be songs that I'll just bring and be like, hey, I can hear this in my head, and then everybody kind of brings their own attitude. I think that's a really having like emotional intelligence and understanding what I want now after 7 years, like, and we're all very close friends. It's just inherently known what I'm trying to say. I don't have to explain everything. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna do like a filthy guitar riff here, or like, you know, like me and Neve have a secret language of how I describe drums to her, and she's like, stop, like, stop, just shut up. I don't want to hear that beat again ever. Like, so, but I love having everybody's input. I think it's what makes it special, and I think we're gonna keep on advancing, and you just have to be open. You have to put like your pride aside,
Yeah, especially,
which I had to learn.
I think that's something we all have to learn when working with people, is kind of just like to open up to the idea that, you know what, you could be working this idea for ages, but this other person come in and change that one thing, and then suddenly it is the greatest idea you've ever had. But working with that many people and having to be open-minded probably goes hand in hand when working with a genre like punk jazz. Like, wow. So one game that I love to play on making music is a bit of a game called This or That, right? And I decided to deep dive into Vernon Jane's musical influences, right, and make up a bit of a this or that for you. Okay. So I'm going to give you 6 artists or bands, right, 2 at a time, and just you pick the first one that comes to your first one that you prefer. Okay. And it doesn't not mean you hate the other. It just means at this moment in time you're preferring the first or the second. Okay. So first one I have for you: Robert Glasper versus Thundercat.
You can't make me choose between. They're like very similar.
That's why I do it. Thundercat, excellent. Yeah. Okay. Next one: Rage Against the Machine versus Queens of the Stone Age.
Queens, 100% all the time.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I just went for this one because I wanted to go for really leaning towards the jazz side of you. Okay. And I wanted to go for 2 big female voices in jazz and see which more you lean towards. Okay. Billie Holiday versus Nina Simone.
Oh, Nina Simone.
I knew it. I had a star beside it.
Yeah, for sure. But geez, that's tough. That's really tough. Yeah, like, I mean, like a lot of the jazz punk thing, that was something that came from other people kind of saying what we were or what we weren't, and all of this. But like, the punk is the attitude and the jazz is the musicality. I think that's kind of what it comes down to. And like I am not, like, in terms of music theory and all that, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm playing. No fucking clue most of the time. But our guitar player Joe is such a crazy jazz player, and you know, like, everybody has these insane musical chops, and you just hear that in each song. And it's like, I think all of us have such really different musical tastes. Like very rare there's an act where you'll see all of us at the same gig. It's very strange when that happens. We're like, what are you doing here? But I think that just makes you really appreciate all the different genres and spectrums of music, you know. It's music is magic. I'll listen to anything and everything. I think that's what it's about, really, you know.
Well, from looking at your influences, I think that's very clear. Like, you had everyone from like Grace Jones, Jeff Buckley, down to Queens of the Stone Age, and like Rage Against the Machine, and then you had Tricot in there and Pond, and it was just like, okay, cool, I'm liking this. I'm jumping on board with all of this. This is great.
Yeah.
But you can really hear it in the new songs you've released. The last 4 you've released under like the Daddy Issues kind of umbrella. So first I want to say Daddy's Issues, the album is going to be out on the 17th of May. It was meant to be out earlier, sadly, but Corona.
Well, the album name is The Ritual of Lovemaking.
Ritual,
Issues was but that is the first single. You're on it. But The Ritual of Lovemaking, 17th of May. Lots of different things led to it being kind of delayed in its release, and like, people have been amazing that have pre-ordered it and different things. But I was recently explaining that we had like physical distribution and digital distribution that's totally linked together, and we're so lucky. Like, when we signed that deal, it was amazing, and it just meant that we had to make a call. If we can't physically release, is it fair to the people who've ordered their records that somebody hears it digitally first? And there's a lot of things up in the air. So I think, you know, you see bands put out like a release had to be rescheduled, and people don't fully understand how difficult that is, that bands are really trying to put their music out at the moment, but there's a lot of moving cogs, and it was heartbreaking. I mean, I was so heartbroken because we
You
waited
worked
so
on this for
long.
years.
Yeah, it's like a
4
labor of
years in the
love for
making.
sure, but you know, we sat down as a band and we listened to the first record press, and we were so ready for people to hear it, and we still are, and we can't wait, and people have been so supportive. So I was saying just before this interview started that we've ordered some packaging ourselves, so we're going to start trying to move some of the records ourselves once the lockdown here in Ireland kind of lets up a little and we can start posting things. But you know, hopefully, fingers crossed,
Well,
that'll be something we can start doing soon.
I'm buzzing for the 17th of May. I can't wait, because the four singles you've released under that. So it's Daddy Issues was first, then it was Other Side, then it was Over, and then it was Fuck Her. And just, this is a quote, another from yourself. I'm just going to start quoting yourself to yourself. A concept album about intimacy, vulnerability, aggression, and shame. The project is divided into 4 distinct sections: cleanse, sink, drown, and float. And going into just, we're just going to dive into all these songs, if that's okay, because I was listening to all of them and just trying to pick out. So Daddy Issues, let's just look at the first one. The title behind it, this whole idea behind the album, from my understanding of it, is the whole idea that for the song especially, that women's feelings are kind of belittled under that title a lot of the time.
Yeah, like for sure. I think it's interesting because like at the moment nobody's heard the full body of work, so it's you know, like people are making assumptions from the album name and like the singles and the content, but I think in general, like it's kind of looking at the intricacies of like human relationships, and like it's something I have not fully been very good at, and being super super introverted as well, like trying to understand things. And there is so much with Daddy Issues in particular, like even naming a song that was like, is this all right? And then the intro to that song is straight away going, well, it better be all right, because for like that was a really difficult song to write, a difficult song to come together. But now, like when we play it at shows and seeing people, like we haven't got to do it that often because like we started off with this run of album shows and then kind of got stopped in our tracks. But
The corona.
like yeah, we had we had played Daddy Issues a few times, and it tended to be one that, you know, people would come up to me afterwards and say, what was that song? I like, and then tell me a story about themselves. And I like that, you know, I think it's really important that people take from it what they need to, really.
Yeah, I think it's a great song, just especially for me, the way I heard it through 2 different voices, basically. One being the guy being like, you need to get your shit together, and the girl being like, well, you know what, you're stuck with me and you can go away if you want to, but please don't go away, but you can go away. And then just the whole thing of like, especially that she looks just like me. And the whole thing was kind of like, this isn't a daddy issue thing, this is a thing that this is an actual logical argument here. And I've taken that from a lot of your songs, of especially like going on into, actually, let me just dive, before I dive into that part, Daddy, I've noticed something about the artwork, and I love looking at the way people have released now, especially when they're trying to release slowly before an album. Orla Gartland does it really, really well, and you've done it really, really well with this whole, the pulling of the orange. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
it's so cool. In Daddy Issues, it's a belt coming out of the orange. Is that like something to symbolize the kind of like being kind of...
Oh man, like you could talk to me for days about all this stuff.
I'd love to.
But this is obviously it is a concept album, and the first section is cleanse, and the idea of cleansing yourself is embracing the aggressive things and getting it out. So Daddy Issues was all the things I didn't want to feel or face up to or acknowledge. And in terms of, you know, it's the complex kind of feelings of knowing you need to get out of something very toxic, or knowing that something is so wrong and staying anyway, because that's, as women, we're fixers, we're supposed to fix. And it's a blessing and a curse, and it was said to me recently by a close friend. It was like it's your best quality, but it's also your worst quality, and I have to I have to agree. Like, but yeah, like I think with the belt, it's to signify like all the things a woman shouldn't be and should also be afraid of. So I love the idea of playing into, you know, like things that are sexualized, but things that are also like aggressive. So like a belt is like the corporal punishment and something that you would associate with, you know, father figures and abuse. And
Yeah.
then it's also can be like quite a sexualized thing as well, and tying
Yeah.
somebody up. So that's kind of plays into the orange artwork as well. The rope is
Yeah.
all about that. Like it can be seen as something that can be, you are domineering and you are in control and you're tying somebody up or tying this thing up, and then it can also be seen as something that strangles you. So I love that kind of push and like pull with imagery, and that's why the belt was used for daddy issues, because it's like sexy but also not sexy at all.
Yeah. Well, it's the hostility versus vulnerability thing that's shown through this whole album, and you can see then. So daddy issues the first one, that's the cleanse, and then you have other side, and that was the sink, and the heart was coming out of the orange there. So it was almost like you, before it was something that was kind of like harsh, but this now there's a heart coming out here. It's like you are literally pulling the heart out of me.
Yeah, I
And
think
you can really hear the jazz influences there, which I thought was really, really nice. And then it was the let loose at the end. But
Well,
about
like I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You
no,
go.
I just wanted to ask about the whole idea of syncing.
Yeah, I always visualized it as like, because it's quite a visual thing. Like songwriting, I have a what we call in our group the album wall. So people have tended to, when they come over to my gaff, just walk straight into my bedroom as if it's their bedroom, and I'm like, this, you don't live here. It's not your room. But apparently every band member thinks that my special space is their special space too now, apparently. But
Look, you opened up your emotions and your heart and your inner mind.
you open up your house.
The bedroom is basically part of that.
So yeah, that's an ongoing dispute we have as a band right now. But yeah, like there's a wall. I have different walls in my room, and I have the ritual of love making walls. So it started off as like one little blank piece of paper, and over the years it's now finished and I love it. But yeah, like with other side and the idea of sinking, the visual to that is like when you're lying in a bath and you sink in, and like how many times water has saved me because I love water and I love the ocean, and I felt like after you cleanse yourself and you're rid of all the really like the surface level emotions like the aggression, you have to sink into how you're really feeling, and facing that off it's horrendous when you kind of look at a situation and you're honest with yourself about it for the first time. So you sink into it, and yeah, the visual is like sinking into a bath and just kind of letting the water completely engulf you, and you are totally like feeling what you need to feel, whatever that
and
what
just
the
letting
kids
it out.
say, in your feels or whatever. But
whatever vibe you're throwing down.
Yeah, I don't
Something
think
like that.
I have. I don't think I have listened to or played that song ever and not felt incredibly just hurt and torn apart. It's one of the most difficult. I remember the day I wrote it. I remember where I was when I wrote it, and it's really difficult to still listen back to it. It's and then when we play it live, there's just something so visceral about it. When the guys join me, it's like they lift me out of my feelings, and incredibly emotional experience recording that and performing that still. And I think in general as a band, everybody feels very strongly about that song. There's just it captures a very difficult time for us.
I wasn't even a part of the writing, and just the line that really hit me hard was, "You can't look me in the eye, I'll see you on the other side." It was at the end part of the little hook there, and I was like, I think everyone's felt that. It was kind of like I wasn't able to notice that you weren't even able to look at me, but I'll be able to notice it later on. Like when I look back at this relationship and actually see it as what it was and be okay with my emotions, I'll be able to see it then.
And I also like, in terms of like as a body of work, it's not so like, it can be individualistic to me, but it's also in terms of like, I think of generational relationships, other relationships that I've seen, like, and other women in my life that I've seen, and you know, other people's relationships that I've borne witness to, and my own experiences. So it's like when I sing that song, it's kind of, for me, what makes it so difficult is that it's like a cycle that continues, whether we like it or not. We keep on making the same kind of excuses, and we keep on like putting up with the same things that our ancestry of women and amazing witches of the past put up with. And yet I had that with that song. It's the realization of like, I need to make the choice not to do this. I need to make a choice, and I need to sing this for every woman and every burnt witch at the stake right now, you know? So yeah, like, I think, yeah, it's a complex one, but I stand by that song a lot more. I hated it at the start, but now it's like, you gotta feel vulnerable, and you gotta feel that stuff. So
Yeah,
might as well write a song.
that's as I said before, the best way to get out emotions, bad or good, is just to be creative about it. Okay, and then next one we had out was Over. Actually, so the first two music videos you brought out for Daddy Issues and for Other Side, so it was kind of like a continuous run into each other. It was
Yes.
like almost like, if you played them, it was almost like a mini movie, you know? It was
Yeah.
kind of the thing of going crazy and then realizing it's like, oh wait, just take all this off. This is horrible. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to sit down and be sad. And I really like that, because it was just such a great theme. Like, you can see themes a lot of times in concept albums when people bring out music videos, but especially for this, it was the way it was shot, the color schemes, everything was just, and it was the same, and like you could see you taking off the t-shirt that you wore in the previous video.
I'm so glad you've asked about it, because yeah, like, it's something I'm really, really proud of. But there is a video for Over, which will be released before the album release. So we kind of postponed it because we were like, basically, the video for Fucker, the guy that I work with and that we work with is a beautiful, wonderful person called Joe Guppy, but he lives in the UK. And so what we do is he just flies over to his Irish summer home, which is like my apartment, and he'll stay for a few days, and we'll have an unreal time for those few days. So like for Daddy Issues, he flew over. Like, we just recorded. Basically, I wanted it to be in my home and as intimate as possible. So he's someone that like I trust inherently, and we just clicked the moment we met. So it's been a wonderful privilege to be working with him, and it's weird now because it, like, for the last 6 months, he's like, we'd go and get him at the airport, and he'd come over, and he'd like be in my house for like a week. And now, not having Joe Guppy here, you're like, where's my Joe Guppy? Like, we recorded Over, and it's beautifully edited, and it's again like the third installment. So it's the third section of the story.
Excellent.
And then hopefully we will get to record the video for Fucker very, very soon. But there's all the ideas are in place. It's just we need to be in the same place at the same time. But yeah, Over's on the way.
And does Over fall into the drown part of the album?
Yeah, so Over, I like to refer to the drowning part of the album as like just dying, straight up death.
And that's why it's just the black ball of nothing coming out of the orange.
Yeah, and again, like that steel, that metallic kind of, like, you're gonna sink with that, but that steel black, just like inevitability of that, like, where if you sink into it, and then you can still, like, we tell ourselves so many lies about how we actually genuinely feel. And with this section of the album, it's the most challenging part of the album for me, but the most empowering, because it's like, it's Over represents like basically just being like, I need to embody who I am. I cannot, like, I like the line, everything is fine, you're just always on my mind, and like I won't survive. There's something incredibly vulnerable about that, but then there's also like, because we get to just scream it, like by the time that I'm saying that, the whole band is like, we're all just like losing our fucking shit, like just like going mental. So it's this paradox of like, I'm saying this really vulnerable thing, but you're all just like totally smothering me in noise, and I feel so angry, and like the being so frustrated that that's how you feel, but then letting that go. And I feel like after every time I've played over, every single time I feel like I've a weight has been lifted from me. And the second song of that section is called Last Good Fuck. Same feeling. It's just like I am the weight is off. Yes, this part of me has died. Like that I have all of the cycle is done, and this version of me is dead, and I have to be okay with who I am. And you know, being that vulnerable in that section, incredibly difficult, but like fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Do you know how many times, like how many chapters of our lives, how many times parts of us are going to die and versions of us are going to die so that a new person can be reborn? It's really important. So I think like I'm proud of Over, because it's one of my favorites, I think, on the album, because I was very, very particular about getting it right and very particular about the sound.
You've hit it on the nose. You really kind of get that kind of, well, in times you kind of get that drowning sound, but it's almost like that you come to hear like chains, almost like that metallic, but then drowning, and then like kind of just being swamped by noise. And when I said like the line there, it cut me, because it was just like I was listening to all of this like madness, and then I was hearing this line, I was like, whoo, gosh, that was harsh, you know, that was right there, that was serious, you know, like, and I loved it. And it's just I'm really excited to see the album and just look at each section as a whole, as its own kind of whole. Okay, and then last section, and then I promise we'll move on to other things besides me just diving into your take apart your psyche.
This is great. I'm happy. It's been very strange not being able to share it with people. So if people have questions, I'm happy to answer.
Everyone just go from the Make It in Music page straight to Vernon Jane's page. I'm going to be, you'll see it. I will have her tagged in everything. Also, the Quarantine FM will have her tagged in everything come Tuesday. Be loads the interview going up, and our interview that we're going to do on Quarantine FM is going to be on SoundCloud as well. So everyone, make sure you check out everything that this amazing woman has to say. So last part, float. Okay, what is coming out of the orange? I have zoomed in. I have like enhanced it. I was like multicolored confetti ball. It kind of reminds me of the ball they used to play with in Barney. And I was like, yeah, is that what it is? But I was like, is it float? She wanted to go so against the darkness. She went for straight up rainbow, and like something that's so like the black ball was so solid and so kind of like unnatural coming out of the orange. Then you have this other thing so natural, but the completely other side of unnatural. So just what is that?
Well, I like so it's like a cheerleader's pom pom. It's
so cheering for yourself, yes.
Yeah, so like when you hear that, like we joke about it, and it will definitely become a factor when the imagery and the video comes along. But that chorus, like when we sing it, and you can't help but like when you're practicing it and stuff, like there's this real like team mentality. Like when we're singing the chorus, we're like cheerleaders. We're like, I know what you're thinking of me when you fuck her, and everybody like can't help but just like scream those bits along with me. And so we the video will embody that spirit very, very much, because it's a serious album, but by the time it gets to that section, float, because like when you drown, you inherently float to the top of the water. And so I love that. It's really dark imagery, but I love that imagery of like, no matter what, you're not going to sink to the bottom. You will float to the top. And even in death, you'll float to the top of a body of water. And so like, you're at this point, and you know, it's really, our material can be like serious, but it can also be really empowering and fun. And this song and that section of the album really embodies that freedom that we feel and that fun side. And that like the song, it's again like a really it was really difficult to write, and like you're singing these lyrics, and sometimes I'm in practice like, I don't want to sing about this today. Like, I don't want to have to like have these feelings today, so
This
I just
anger.
won't. Yeah, I'll be like, I'm not singing this song today. And then other times you can be really lighthearted and you scream the lyrics, and then other times you can be so aggressive and it's like really tense. And so we're all like emanating whatever vibe that we're feeling for this song. It has like all the different layers to it, but yeah, it is really empowering to like shout those lyrics. And also like the second verse where like when we play it live, you just, all of us get to just shout the word like dick, and it's
Yeah.
amazing. You know, like I don't know how else to put it. It's really great.
I remember like the last breakup I had was like 3 years ago, but when I was like kind of going through that breakup and just trying to find a song that just like gave out about someone and was just kind of like, I know I'm amazing, screw you. And like I was looking at like going through the amount of playlists I went through. Spotify plays of breakup songs. Carrie Underwood, show that I dug my key into the sand. It's like, he never cheated. I can't even do that. I can't even say that. And then finding this song, I was like, this is the breakup song that we need. This is the breakup song that every girl needs, just to be kind of like getting really drunk with your friends and just like going mental.
I think it's important as well to like, it's again like as a body of work, it's a spectrum of everything around me and the shit that I have seen the women in my life put up with and the shit that I've put up with. And it's this like it's a really difficult thing to try and talk about, because I'm, as a person, as an individual, I'm quite androgynous, and like I'm sometimes very masculine, sometimes very feminine. And this album kind of embodies all of that, the softness of being feminine, but the aggressiveness of being masculine. And these are things we associate with one or the other thing. And I think I slowly, through the process of writing this album, just understood my worth and my value, and that I didn't have to keep on trying to put labels on myself and put like, oh, Emily is X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm soft, but I'm also aggressive, or I'm kind, but I can also be. We're so multifaceted as individuals, and for so long I was trying to figure out like, where do I fit, but I don't fit anywhere, because that's the way of it. Like, there's only so much self-analyzation you can do before you realize I just am enough. And by the end of this album, it's like, I am enough. The women who came before me were more than enough. The women who were way before me years and years ago were more than enough. And for some reason, we're in a patriarchal society that makes us feel like we are not. And it's just this inherent thing around us. And I think once all that starts setting in for me, it was like, I need to wake up and feel like I'm enough. And that's just a journey we're all on. Male, female, androgynous, not androgynous, feminine, masculine. Like, it's just, and I think Fuck Her as a song, like, after all the bullshit I've seen and been through and helped people through or witnessed, it's like, I'm enough. And it's not at all bashing another girl. It's literally being like, you do you, but also you're not going to ever, like, I know my worth now, and so no matter what comes from the future, like, I'm cool and you be cool. And there's like a peacefulness to it, even though it's quite an aggressive end to an album and an aggressive song. There's just this zen to it, because it's like, I'm finally free of it, you know. I'm finally free of not feeling like I'm enough, you know.
There's that thing of like, there is a fun aggression to it at the end. It's like, that song is fun aggressive. It's a song to be okay to be funly angry with. And I think that's the way we all end up. Like, when we're fully over a bad breakup or something, you're able to turn around and be like, oh yeah, he was a dick, and just laugh about it and be like, yeah, I'm so much better off than that shit. And that's what that song really encapsulates. And this whole album is, and just thinking about the whole title of it now, The Ritual Art of Lovemaking, is really just describing what relationships are, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and I think it's that variedness of like everything's so complex. So like every song, it's not an ode to one thing or one person or whatever. It's like it's a deeply personal thing of like just trying to come to terms with what we're doing, how important and the weight that we put on relationships, the importance that we put on it. Some people aren't necessarily built the way that others are, and like trying to share and everything is so open and talk and like I I think the safest place I feel is writing and getting it out that way. And I think in turn that then leads to a safe place for people who don't know how to vocalize their anger. And in particular, anger about things that I'll feel, because we normalize those feel we normalize like, oh, it's grand that like that happened. That's okay. Like that happens to people. It's still shit for you. It's
Mm-hmm.
still terrible like for you. So you have to find a way to process it. And I think that's what I love about this more than anything, is that there has been times where we have played, and in particular playing Fucker, the first few times that we played it, and it was like always at smaller shows because we were waiting till our big show to like do the full album, and there would be these beautiful, wonderful, smart, intelligent, just amazing young women at the front of a Vernon James show screaming that chorus and like gasping when we all scream like dick, and just being like, what is going on? And then they come up afterwards and they're telling me this person done this to me and this song made me feel this, and it's like, yes, please, like, yeah, because I don't know how to vocalize myself. I don't know how to have the bravery to say that to anybody. And I want to inspire that bravery in those people, because the only way I can find the words is in music. And the bravery that those girls have and coming up and saying it to me, I'm like, you're better than me. You have more courage than me to be able to come up and tell me your story. And it's empowering for me. Like, so I just really can't wait to share it more. Like hear people's reactions more, like, because it's really important for like everyone, specifically for young women, to feel their aggression and to feel worthy. Stop settling for things. Feel worthy, feel good enough. Like, it's really tough, but we're all in it together and we can do it. So yeah, sorry, really big
No,
rant there.
no. I love it. I love it. I'm just like, I just realized like halfway through that, I was just like looking at you. So excuse my like doting face during that whole thing. I love that. So yes, the Ritual Art of Lovemaking is going to be out on the 17th of May. So everyone make sure you go and pre-save it online, pre-save it on Spotify, on Apple Music, whatever you listen to your stuff on. Check out the music videos as well. Check out your merch online. The merch is class. Check out go on to vernonjane.com and get a physical copy of the album, because it's going to be sent to you by one of the band members. And what can you say?
Yes.
When can you say that? That's pretty awesome.
And it's also it's cool because Ricky, our bass player, he'll be mad if I don't shout out, he made the website. So
go on,
like,
Ricky.
Yeah, go Ricky. Woo.
So besides all of this, besides keeping yourself busy, writing amazing music and stuff like that, you not only work for IMRO, the Irish Music Rights Organisation, but you have your own podcast with Shelly, Bukspan, and one of the Heathers, Louise MacNamara.
Yeah, Louise. Yeah, I do. Well,
through the lens.
Yeah, I have like I have my 9 to 5 job, and I'm very, very lucky to really, really love my job, and I believe in what I'm doing. So other songwriters, if anybody I know is listening, always feel free to message me. I'll try help if I can. I'm not I'm in a certain specific department, but I can find someone who can help, because it's so important right now to just be registered and be getting paid for your work. So there's a lot of like nuts and bolts that go into getting paid for your work. So I think that's where songwriters struggle, is that they might have one part of it done, like they might be registered with IMRO, but they might not have their works registered, and they might have their works registered, but they don't have a set list registered. So you need all of that in order for you to get paid.
Yeah.
And so that's something that if people are unsure, just reach out to IMRO. That's what they're there for. But yeah, that's kind of my 9 to 5. And then yeah, the podcast is just a really, basically was just born of we're just three really good mates, and we all met. I was previously working in BIM, and I've known Shelly a very long time, and me and Louise kind of hit it off instantly. And we just every so often would go and get food together in Yamamori. And I honestly, I can't tell you, I like one of many conversations. It was like, look at us talking here, it's great, we should record it, you know. And it was born of that. And so like every so often, you know, we'd meet up and we'd record and we'd put it up on SoundCloud, and that's honestly all it was. It's just like being born of like, we like talking about music together, we like sitting down and eating food together. And like I record it and I edit it, but like it varies. We're still feeling out. Like we talk primarily about songs and the things behind music and art. So that's what it'll be expanding into, is talking to other artists. But at the moment, the next episode in the works is like me, Shelly and Louise, we both picked a song each, and we're just deep diving into why we picked that song. So
Awesome.
that's really fun. But like it's kind of just, again, like a labor of love. It's just a really easy thing to do. And if people want to have a listen, it's kind of like just listening to your mates have a chat, if you're into that kind of thing. It's something I never ever thought I'd be a part of, to be honest. Because yeah, like I like it's I guess it's just the comfort level of being with Shelly and Louise that I'm like, yeah, this is sweet for me. I feel very at ease with these two people. And yeah, I'm just hearing, especially, no offense to Louise, but you know, she's great and everything, but Shelly has these crazy life stories that that just kill me. And
Yeah,
Louise has them too, but you know, Shelly, what am I saying? She's a few years on Louise, so there's some magic going on in Shelly's stories. But they're both just wonderfully, amazingly kind, generous, beautiful, loving people, and the universe brought them into my life, and I'm very, very lucky to know them. So we'll do the podcast, and as long as it's easy to do, I think we'll keep doing it, and that's really it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I have one last question for you. Okay.
Yeah.
And this, I sometimes forget to tell people at the start. I feel like I really should. But Emily, outside right now, there isn't really, I don't want to raise your hopes, but outside right now, there is a helicopter and it's about to take you away to an island where you're going to stay by yourself. You have 5 albums that you're allowed to bring with you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to tell you my 5 albums.
What if just the ones that come to you today? They could change in 5 minutes time. Mine normally do.
Like the thing is, like I listen to oodles of music. I can't stress how much music I listen to. It's like it's very varied. But 5 albums. Immediately Tool came to my head. I definitely have to have a Tool album. Probably Lateralis. I probably would have. There is a band called Brockhampton. Anything. They're hip hop, and it really like eases my soul. What else? Definitely Crosby, Stills and Nash. I would have, again, just the harmonies killing me. So that's Brockhampton, Tool, Crosby, Stills and Nash. That's pretty varied. That's pretty good.
That's very good.
Then what else? Then I haven't listened to Jeff Buckley in a while. Jeff Buckley is like my go-to, but I feel like I'm constantly in a love-hate relationship because it's a very visceral thing listening to Jeff Buckley, and I think eventually, hopefully in the next year, I'll be able to listen to Jeff Buckley again. So I would probably take that on the off chance that my mental health gets better and I can listen. So that's 4.
They're so nervous. I think we all have that.
Yeah. So right now, number 5. MF Doom for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a nice little mix.
Yeah. Now already I'm like, but what about Freddie Gibbs and what about Sabbath? These are other 2 great hip hop artists that I love. But yeah, music is amazing, and there's many amazing new artists coming up at the moment. I don't want to say more so than ever, but maybe more so than ever. So throw on your Spotify like new releases, because that shit bangs.
And make sure you check out this Tuesday coming on. Emily is going to be on the Quarantine FM show talking about her album as well, and you're going to be able to hear the last 4 tracks you've released. So we're going to be playing 2 either side of the interview, which I can't wait for, because I can't wait just to ramp up the volume on all those tunes. It's going to be great. Thank you so much, Emily, for coming on. Really appreciate it. You've been absolutely lovely as usual.
Thank you.
Make sure you check out Vernon Jane's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the website. Go on, Ricky. This has been the Making It in Music podcast and videocast since we set up our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to both watch and listen to this. Thank you guys so much, and have a fantastic week as always.